earlier this year, Deere announced it would be moving part of its production line from the Dubuque John Deere works to Mexico.
The CEO of John Deere just dropped a huge bombshell after Trump's criticism and a threat against a decision they believed was best for their company. What exactly did Trump say to warrant this degree of reaction? Beginning with its establishment in 1837, John Deere has a great history of manufacturing in the United States. With its recognizable green and yellow tractors and harvesters, the firm has been a major force in the agricultural equipment sector throughout the years. Historically, the company has relied heavily on its manufacturing facilities in the U.S. to support local economies and create thousands of jobs. However, due to a tight labor market in the United States, the great American firm unexpectedly decided on Friday, June 3, 2022, to shift its cab production from its Waterloo, Iowa facility to Mexico. This decision marked a dramatic deviation from the company's long-standing custom. However, the company projected that by 2026 it would have moved its cab production from its tractor and cab assembly operations site to the components plant in Ramos, Mexico. But what exactly will be the effect of this epic decision on its American workforce? John Deere's decision to relocate has had a major economic influence on the United States. Over 600 employees at the company's plants in Illinois and Iowa will be laid off, with significant reductions occurring at the East Moline, Davenport, and Dubuque locations. It is anticipated that these layoffs will have a knock-on effect on local economies, impacting not only the laid-off employees, but also nearby companies and suppliers that rely on the company. The drop in associated industries, such as suppliers of components and services, may also result from a reduction in domestic manufacturing operations, which would worsen the economic downturn in the impacted areas. Reduced economic activity, lower tax collections for local governments, and possible skilled worker exodus in search of jobs elsewhere are some of the long-term economic repercussions to be anticipated. This is what the company said. The decision to move cab production ensures the company can balance workforce needs within the tight labor market, while also ensuring Waterloo can open up floor space to manufacture new products. But before we go ahead, wouldn't you like to know the reason behind this tough call? The company explained the reason behind its decision by stating that a severe labor scarcity is driving wage rise and raising expenses for American manufacturers who are already facing inflationary pressures. Furthermore, in its most recent quarterly reports, Deere failed to meet Wall Street revenue projections and reported difficulties in obtaining parts for its heavy machinery, which caused a 14% decline in share price. In addition, Deere made a solid profit outlook for the entire year, offset by remarks that supply chain problems had put many of the machines it planned to sell on hold. Not just that, the agricultural equipment manufacturer reported $12.02 billion in revenue, which was less than the $13.2 billion in net sales as anticipated. Despite surviving the storm of supply chain constraints, the massive machinery company's revenue, which is almost 9% lower than analysts' estimates, indicates that shortages of raw materials combined with inflationary pressures are beginning to have an impact on the company. More so, it is important to note that other businesses have effectively used the same tactics, moving manufacturing to nations with cheaper prices while upholding high standards of efficiency and quality, so John Deere is not the first company to make this kind of move. In a globalized economy where market needs and cost pressures are ever-changing, this strategy enables businesses to stay competitive. With everything happening in the John Deere company, this is where it all takes a more difficult turn. At an agricultural policy roundtable in Smithton, Pennsylvania on Monday, September 23, 2024, the former president, Donald Trump, threatened to impose a hefty tariff if John Deere implements its plans to shift a number of what it produces to Mexico. And this is exactly how he said it. I know a lot about John Deere. I love the company, but as you know, they announced a few days ago that they're going to move a lot of their manufacturing business to Mexico. He also added that if John Deere goes ahead with its plans to move to Mexico, he will impose a 200% tariff on whatever they wish to sell in the U.S. Then Mr. Trump went further to say that the John Deere company thinks they can cut the cost of their product in Mexico and then sell it here for the same price as before, making a lot of money by eliminating our employment and labor. He went one step further and threatened to impose the same 200% charge on any company that followed suit. The John Deere company didn't hesitate to respond to Mr. Trump's claims, officially rejecting his assertions that his tariff threats preserved American jobs, calling them wholly untrue. This particular disclaimer was made because Trump reportedly claimed in a recent speech that John Deere had decided against shifting operations to Mexico because of his proposed tariffs. Speaking to Bloomberg News and the Wall Street Journal, their business representative clarified that no such announcement or decision had been made. Also, during an interview with the Economic Club of Chicago, Trump made a statement that was presented as a win for American jobs. He boasted that after he threatened to stop the heavy machinery company's sales in the United States, they had retracted their intentions to build plants in Mexico. They announced about a year ago they're probably not going to build the plants. I kept the jobs here. Nevertheless, neither company news releases nor recent news pieces provided any confirmation of these assertions. In addition, the Trump campaign did not respond to questions with evidence to back up this assertion. The claim is the most recent of the former president's string of contentious statements. Also, fact-checkers found that Trump made at least 19 inaccurate claims throughout his campaign period, including falsehoods on immigration statistics and the Capitol rioting on January 6th. Not only that, inflation rates of both his and President Joe Biden's governments were similarly misrepresented by him. Similarly, several studies have consistently demonstrated that tariffs, especially those imposed by Trump, harm American consumers and businesses more than their intended targets, despite his claims that economic protectionism benefits American workers. According to a CBS study, importers, not foreign businesses, usually pay the price of tariffs, which raises the cost of common commodities. Despite Trump's insistence that his tariffs brought in hundreds of billions of dollars from China alone, the majority of those expenses were borne by American businesses and consumers, not Chinese, according to many findings by the Congressional Research Service. Additionally, a number of experts contend that Trump's tariffs fell short of his pledge to restore manufacturing jobs. For instance, aluminum and steel tariffs resulted in price increases that hurt American industries more than they helped, according to research from the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Much more, with no indication that it will stop production moves, John Deere, whose name Trump mentioned in his recent statements, has persisted in its global expansion strategy, not minding Mr. Trump's threats. These false claims are not a thing of today. Trump frequently portrays decisive action in his narrative, but the facts have always revealed otherwise. It is simple to refute his claim that no previous president has placed taxes on Chinese goods, as it is obvious that since 1789, import duties have been in effect, and recent administrations, including Barack Obama's, have added more levies when needed. Moreover, it is more difficult to determine where the ultimate economic cost of tariffs lie. There's a high probability that the U.S. consumer would be the one to shoulder the financial burden if the U.S. importing company raised the retail prices of the product. However, it is argued that the U.S. importing company will bear the economic burden in the form of decreased earnings if it decides to absorb the expense of the tax itself and chooses not to pass it on. Alternatively, it is also possible that foreign exporters might have to lower their wholesale prices with respect to the value of the tariff in order to retain their U.S. customers. In that case, the exporting company would see decreased profits as a result of the tariff. Theoretically, all three situations are plausible. However, economic analyses of the effects of the new tariffs that Trump implemented during his first term in office, which ran from 2017 to 2020, indicated that the U.S. consumers ultimately bore the majority of the financial burden. It is undoubtedly a hard decision for either John Deere or Mr. Trump, considering the effect it will have on the citizens of the U.S. The question is, will either John Deere or Mr. Trump change their mind? Let me know what you think in the comments. For more videos like this, subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.